Wilfred Zaha then. A player I'm not a massive fan of, for obvious reasons. I think he's arrogant. I don't think he's generally a nice person. But again, that's just my opinion. I know he's a good footballer, I don't disagree, he's definitely a good player. Very tricky winger to defend against, he's quick, he's pacey, he's skillful. All that, you know, typical winger sort of thing. But he's definitely a good player, and someone that, you know, Palace fans will disagree, but I feel that yes, he has carried them the last couple of years. Like, he's been their main man, to put it nice, in nicer terms, I suppose. But I'm talking about an Ivory Coast international and all that. An Ivory Coast international, you know, a 30-year-old player who, no disrespect to Palace, is playing for a mid-table team that, yes, are on the up under Patrick Vieira, and yes, I know we are 11th, they are 12th. The gap is quite tight. I know all that nonsense, but I'm talking about the player's sort of career here, and what I'm trying to put forward is he's too good for Crystal Palace. He's too good for Villa. I'll say that before anyone goes, well, you can't really say anything. But I don't think he's Big Six level. I think he's a European team level. Like, you know, this guy's good enough to win trophies. You know, he can wind up his opponent, but he gets wound up way too easily. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he is good enough for Palace, but you know, it's Wilfred Zaha. He doesn't get on with two main players in the Premier League, Tyrone Mings and James Ward-Prowse, and normally one of the two gets sent off when they battle. I'm terrible at penalties, so I do apologise. Just trying to get used to this new penalty system. But anyways, back to Zaha. This season, 6 goals, 2 assists in 19 games. That's pretty good. He had a really good purple patch. I think it was at the beginning of the season. 8 goal contributions in 19 games, which is pretty decent. Typical winger stat, that. You know. Again, I feel sorry for him a little bit. I feel like he probably could have earned more in his career, and you know, Ivory Coast, they've got a decent national team, but in theory, what are they going to win? You know, they don't often get in the World Cup. AFCON at best is probably what they'd be able to win. But again, for Zaha, I think, you know, you're 30 now, you've probably just had your prime. Maybe it's time to leave and find a new club. You know, I might be wrong. I know he loves Crystal Palace, but his contract's up in the summer. Maybe it is time to leave Palace, and maybe it is time to go somewhere else. But, you know, Crystal Palace do have a decent fan base. They definitely make a lot of noise. As for their team, you know, they're good on their day, but are they going to get into Europe in the next 5 years? Potentially, maybe, but they don't have the best financial budget. And, you know, then they're sort of a mid-table team that, you know, are decent. They pull off a few upsets, but then, you know, they're nothing special in the league, a bit like Villa have been for the last couple of years. But with Vieira, who knows, maybe he'll get him to sign the contract. I don't know where he'd go if he left. He's been linked to a few clubs. I wouldn't honestly be surprised if he went to Chelsea, but, you know, he could even go, you know, he could just leave the Premier League altogether. When's his birthday? 10th of November, so he'll be 31 this year. Got a few years left of his career, so, you know, it's a massive career choice, but for me, he's slightly ruining his career at Palace. I think he needs to move on, find a different club, and, you know, if it means moving abroad, and do that. But I feel like he's definitely got something about him, and I think he needs to, you know, go show at a bigger club. No disrespect to Palace at all there, But I feel like at a club like Chelsea, I know they're not great at the minute, but you know, for me right now, he is ruining his career. Not the way he's playing. I just feel like he could be achieving more in his career. But I do value, you know, I do like loyal players, and I can see Zaha is a fairly loyal player. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But you know.